Welcome to Discussing Dad Life, where we break down bullshit so you don't have to. I'm Void, this is No, and let's go.
Wellspring Wednesdays. Welcome.
Back sore.
We're going to go through a lot of...
emotional damage.
Yeah, because we're gonna revisit your story. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, boy.
Pulling a Hodge twins.
Those guys are funny, man.
They are funny.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, a couple weeks ago. You're just going to repeat what I said? Fucking dick. How old are you today? Oh, I'm 3.
Same as I'm always, 16.
I identify as 4 years old.
16, same.
16.
Haven't aged.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, you were nice enough, because I was sick as crap,
Yeah.
to do a couple of videos with your son in the car. And
Yeah,
one of the videos was an amazing story that gained a lot of traffic, I thought. I thought it was pretty good. It seemed that way.
I don't look at like all the numbers like you do and all that. I don't know. I do the videos and then I, get them out there.
Yeah. Your son and I are a little bit more
in
paying attention
depth.
as some of the background information, what's going on. So anyway, the story was you were talking about your ex, and some of the issues you went through, and this kind of gave the story as to that relationship and some of the things that went on in that relationship. Yeah. So I was hoping you'd reiterate, take the first 5-10 minutes, kind of retell the story, and then let's dive into some of the aspects on it, because...
Well, where do you want me to start? You want me to start from when I first met her to the end of it? I can recap the whole thing, or I can just do the end part where it was bad.
Well, so why don't you give a brief explanation of how you guys met and whatnot, and then expand out in the kind of the end stages, right?
Okay, so you've met my 2 heathens that are mine.
They're not heathens; they're great kids.
Actually. They are. They're really good kids, actually, considering everything that they've been put through. But I met their biological mom, because they don't call her mom; they call my significant other now mom.
Yep.
Anyways, I met their biological mother in Jerome, actually. And I don't remember exactly how she ended up with my phone number or what. You know what I mean? Either way, we ended up talking and stuff. And she was living in her car, and come to find out, I was like, well, here, I have a whole extra room. You know what I mean? You can take it. It's all yours until you get on your feet and shit. Because I try to be, a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, most guys are trying to be nice guys.
Yeah. I genuinely think that most guys are trying to be nice guys.
Yep.
And
kudos to you for being a nice guy.
But not all of them. Don't get me wrong. There's those fucking weirdos out there too.
Oh, yeah,
so
there's creeps.
Yeah. But anyways, I was trying to be a nice guy and give her the room or whatever, and da. Well, one thing ended up leading to another. You know what I mean? She was really attractive. Obviously, she thought I was attractive or whatever. And we ended up getting together, and a year went by. We had our ups and downs, but it wasn't nothing too serious.
Yeah.
Where it was oh, fuck that. So even though there was probably a couple red flags in the beginning, but either way, it was nothing to the point where I was going to say, no, I'm not going to call it quits,
Yeah.
And, well, then she found out she was pregnant with the, first heathen, which she already had another heathen from another relationship. And that didn't bother me any. So she gets pregnant with our first, her second. And, then he's born, and I'm working and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. But then things just started going bad really quick after a couple of years. And I ended up losing my job, which is where we met. And
well, you should dive into a little bit more on that portion of that story, because it wasn't just I ended up losing my job. There was a lot to that portion of that story.
Okay, so there. During that time that I lost my job, she started using drugs again. Okay. And I'm no saint. I was playing with it a little too, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But nowhere to the extent of where I was going out and doing the things that she was doing. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail. But she ended up showing up at the workplace, hitting the boss's car with her car. I mean, completely messed it up, dude.
Do you really want to call him the boss?
Well, he was the boss at the time.
He was a puppet.
Whatever. Fair. Either way, he told us what to do. You know what I mean? I didn't have any authority.
He tried to tell me what to do, and
well,
I usually told him to fuck off.
All right, fine. He told me what to do. He thought he told you. But anyways,
you really can't tell someone that knows more than you what to do.
Fair. Either way, she hit his car, and after that, he pretty much had it out for me. Which, I mean...
He had it out for you before then, though, too.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah. He did not like you.
I don't give a shit.
He didn't like anyone that didn't respect him.
Oh, yeah, I never respected him, that's for sure.
But, you know, he was one of those guys that he thought that everyone should respect him just for being alive.
I just always thought it was funny because he would walk pigeon-toed.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to call him the penguin.
Yeah, and so I had a little bit of respect for him, and up until the whole packaging lady situation where he made her cry.
Yeah.
Like, the sweetest lady in the world ended up making her cry. After that, I had no respect for him, and I treated him like shit.
I never knew that happened.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I lose my job, and she tells me, you know what, you stay home with the kids. I'm going to go to work. I said, okay, let's see how long this lasts. You know what I mean? Because like before that, she had tried to sell like what is that Mary Kay shit? She tried to Avon or whatever the hell it is, and she couldn't do it, man. Like, you want to sleep until noon, and then it doesn't work like that. Okay, you got to put in some work.
Yeah.
That's why they call it work. It's in the name.
You got to grind.
Yeah. So, anyways.
But it's interesting you say that with a chuckle because like any guy knows that men are going to put in the work and don't get me wrong, women will put in the work with something they're really invested in too. But it's hilarious that you kind of chuckle through that.
Well, it's because
how long is that going to last?
Well, because dude, I knew her at that point, you know, and it was like I know it's not going to last. So even though it was a nice gesture, okay, I'll give her that much. It was a nice gesture.
Can I pause your story for just a second and just ask you this random question?
Yeah.
Which is, if you knew her so well and you were to the point where you can chuckle at it, would it not have behooved you to say, hey, you can go ahead and explore this as well, but I'm going to continue working as well?
Well, so here's the thought. Maybe it was my pride and ego, but I wanted to prove a point.
Okay.
I said, okay. Because we can't afford daycare or anything right now anyways. Fair. So somebody's going to have to stay home. I said, okay. You want to do it? And I remember saying these exact words. I was like, fine, go right ahead. I was like, I will be the stay-at-home parent. Go ahead, you know. And I told her that. And I said, go ahead. And she found a job at some call center. And she was there 2.5 months? Maybe. We'll say 3. We'll give her 3 months.
Okay.
She lost it, man. She was taking her money and she was going to the bar. She was going and buying other things, you know, other substances and whatnot. Anyways.
So not supporting the family.
Not supporting the family.
Even though that was her whole thing was I'll go
I'm
make
gonna
money
go
to support the family.
Yeah.
Okay. Pause real quick here.
Go for it.
This story is highlighting something that I firmly believe in, which is women, if they choose to work, it needs to be a purely elective portion.
Yeah.
You cannot they will not support a man but they will support their kids typically. But this kind of exemplifies that in a what's it called when anecdotal? Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. So anyways, it lasted, like I said, we'll give her 3 months. And then after that, man, we lost everything. We couldn't pay the bills. We couldn't do this. And now I'm starting to try to look for work again. You know what I mean? But I'm on probation because of some of the situations that have arisen between me and her. Okay.
DVs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to know? Yeah, man, we got into it physically, but for some odd reason, I always got blamed for everything.
I apologize. I probably shouldn't have asked that question. It's a
all
little
good.
bit personal, but I was just curious. I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no. It's all good. And but here's the kicker to that later down the road. I'll tell you. Okay. So, anyways, she takes off, right? She just takes off one day. Okay. So we can't pay the bill. So I call my mother in Colorado. I was like, hey, dude. I was like, I need some help. Like, this is what's going on. Can you just help me pay a couple of these bills? And I'll get you back as soon as I find some work. She sends me the money,
Okay.
I give her the money. I was like, go pay this bill, okay? So they don't turn off the heat, you know, the gas or whatever. And I was like, it's because tomorrow's his birthday, meaning my son. Literally, the next day was his birthday.
Okay.
I was like, go do that, and we'll figure out the birthday party situation. I got a little bit of extra money. Like, anyways, so she takes off, right? She never comes back. Okay? For like, the next day.
So hold on. Let's contrast this.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is she was pulling a man and being the deadbeat father.
Sure, you can say that.
She went out for milk and never came back, right?
But see, here's the thing, too, okay? We were having problems.
Well, get that.
But here, it's all situations are complicated.
Yeah.
She felt like she needed to leave. Cool. I understand that. We weren't getting along. We were fighting. It was getting physical. Whatever. That's fine. Okay? But you did that to your kids. You didn't just leave me, okay? You left your fucking kids behind.
Yeah.
Which, again, if that's what you wanted to do, all you had to do was say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say, hey, this is not working out. I need you to take the kids. I need to go.
I gotta go.
I got to go take care of myself.
Because then I could have taken other steps preemptively
right.
or whatever. You know what I mean? But anyways.
The reason I was saying that, contrasting it, is because that's typically the story that most women will say is because the dad's a deadbeat.
Yeah.
They walked out on me, whatnot. So it's just the one reason I liked why I thought the story was great was because it was highlighting that it's not just men that do this.
Oh, yeah, no,
there are men that do this dumb shit.
Yeah,
absolutely. But in relationships, it always takes two to tango.
Yeah,
and it's not always one person's fault.
Yeah, no, there's definitely both parties were at fault. I did my messed up shit. She did hers. But anyway, she takes off, right? Well, the next day I go and I figure I take a stroller, right, with both babies.
Okay.
And I go down to I think it was the dollar store, and I buy some stuff, you know what I mean?
Okay.
A little cake and stuff. Regardless, we were going to have a birthday party.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I wasn't going to let that affect anything.
No, you were looking out for him and
yeah,
making sure
you
that
know
he had a good birthday.
Yeah. And, all of a sudden I get a knock on the door, and it's a cop. And it's the drug cop, like the drug dog and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and they're like, well, we have a warrant for your arrest. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. And I had been in trouble. So I was like, okay, the cop was pretty cool at first. He was like, or I told him, I was like, hey, I just need to find somewhere where to go. Or my kids to go. I was like, I can't get a hold of their mom. And I even called her in front of him, like I can't get a hold of her. So he's like, all right, find somebody. I'm like, cool. Thank you. Well, he walks in. And he goes straight into the bedroom and starts looking around and shit. I'm like, what the hell? That's kind of weird. And anyways, they find something in the house that's not mine. Okay. They ran it for DNA, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards. And it was not mine. But because I was within the item in question.
Yeah, you were in the domicile.
Yeah.
The item was in it. It was yours.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, what? Anyways,
so there is something to be said on the legalities there, right? Because let's say you're in a car and you jump in the car with me and you have something illegal and you put it in the car,
your seats or something like that.
I'm just as guilty as you.
Yeah, and you didn't even know.
Unless you fess up and say, "Hey, that's actually mine."
Exactly.
He had nothing. No, you're the person, so you can screw people over really bad.
Yeah.
Which
happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, and it's actually a very big issue that I think our law enforcement system actually has, is that you can, but they don't care about the individual. No. It's a Ponzi scheme basically. They are out there to basically make money.
Yeah, So anyways, they get no, you're fine, and they arrest me for felony possession of a controlled substance and this and that. But it's just weird. Okay, that whole situation. Just weird how they walked into my house and knew exactly where it is. So a few years go by, I go to prison, I get out, and I have a friend, he's in trouble, and he, and I move him out to where I'm at, trying to help him out. And come to find out, him and her behind my back were doing a bunch of stuff that I didn't know about. And the only conclusion that I can come up with is that they called the cops on me.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can come up with about that situation.
To eliminate you from the...
Yeah, to take me out of the situation. Whatever they had planned, I don't know, but it didn't work regardless. So I go to jail. I'm in jail. The kids are taken by the state.
Well, can you really say that it didn't work? Because you did lose time.
I did lose time, yeah.
Right.
But it was a short win, if you want to even call it a win. I don't call it a win. But so I'm sitting in jail, da 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 da, and all of a sudden I get a guard coming into my cell a couple, months down the road, and he's like, "Hey, you need to call this number." And I'm like, "What? Well, since when does a guard come and tell you, you need to call this number?" I'd never heard of it, so I call the number, and it's her, and she goes, "You need to find a place to get these kids. I can't do it right now. I'm done. You need to figure out where to get your kids, or take your kids." I'm like, "I'm in jail, like how the."
I'm in jail most likely because of you.
Yeah.
Yet you're still. But again, it goes
still depending on me.
It goes to highlight again the gender roles that each
person plays.
That each person plays is the male, even through the dumbest shit you will go through. Yeah. They're the ones that are going to have to take responsibility for things.
So I get a hold of some friends, God bless them, in Colorado, and some of these friends are not exactly
the nicest
people in the world.
Yeah.
But that's the way I grew up, But they drive all the way here to Idaho. As soon as I got a hold of them, dude, the next day.
But so you can say that they're not the nicest people, but the simple fact that they would do that for your children, shows the level of respect that they had for you, at least.
Exactly.
Right? So in my book, that would make them all creatures are gray, right? Yeah, all humans are gray. So they might not be the best people, but when you were down and it counted, they were there.
Definitely.
So
and
hats off to them, man.
They drove all the way up here, and they got my kids, and they took them all the way back to Colorado with my mom, and then that's where they stayed until I finished everything.
Yep. And then you transferred over to Colorado.
Yeah. So then there was a whole bunch of legal stuff in between there, which is fairly boring. But when I did get out after doing my little bit of time, I got out, and she had just had a baby with somebody else while I was in prison, and she's trying to say that it was mine, and they had to do a DNA test. Like I said, a bunch.
How long were you in jail for? Or in prison?
The first time, I think I was. It was a.
Up to the point where she said, "Hey, I'm pregnant, and it's yours."
Well,
how long were you in jail? Was it over 10 months?
No, well, see, here's the thing. So she was pregnant before I went in, and I knew that.
Okay.
She told me. Everybody knew that she was pregnant before we went, and we weren't really doing anything at that time.
Okay.
But then I went to prison, and then she wanted to try to make amends, and she's like, "Well, I just had this baby, and she wanted me to take care of it, plus my kids." And I was like, at first I tried to make myself mentally prepared. I was like, okay, maybe it could work.
Did she put you down as the father on the birth certificate?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember that article we were reading a month ago in Tennessee where he was I wish more states would have that.
Absolutely,
that would have been a crime for her to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I did play around with the idea because I just wanted my kids to have a nice family. Okay. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll work out. But I never said anything to her. I never did anything. We were never together or back together or anything like that.
Oh, hold on. Can you clarify that? What do you mean that you wanted your kids to have a nice family?
Well, because so
you wanted to get back with her so that way you had an intact family.
I thought about it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I thought about it.
I was just making sure that's what you were trying to say.
You're fine. I had thought, the thought did cross my mind. I'm like, well, maybe we should. The kids will have a mom. It'll be me. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll work out. But I never did.
May I ask why you didn't?
I just was very unsure about everything because of everything that had transpired. And this is prior to me knowing about her and my friend.
Okay. So would this be fair to say that based on her history, you thought it was more prudent for you to not do that and have a mother, their biological mother, in your kids' lives, as that would be more beneficial than having a...
Well, at that point, I guess it was self-preservation. You
know what I mean? Or for your
kids?
Me.
You know what I mean? Because I knew that the kids were safe.
Okay.
So regardless of whatever happened to me, they were fine. They were with my parents, and they're not going to let anything happen to them. Okay. Anything bad anyways. You know what I mean? Maybe too many cookies before bed or something. But so it was when I got out, and it was like I called her on the phone. I was like, "Hey," I'm out. What's going on with you? What's the situation? She's like, "Oh yeah, I got it set up. You can come here to Boise and all that." And I had already told her the whole time. I was like, "I'm not going to Boise."
Yeah.
I was like, "I am interstate compacting to Colorado where the kids are."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I already set it up like this." I'm like, "No, I already told you this is what I'm doing. You've tried to lead and that didn't work. Either you can follow, and it might have you have a better chance of seeing your kids if you follow than if you try to lead again."
So you were still kind of keeping the door open
I kept
the possibility.
I left the door open as long as possible.
But you were unwilling to say, I was
not going to
through
compromise.
that door. I'll open the door for you. If you walk through, great. But I'm not walking through
Absolutely.
for you.
I was not going to be the one to compromise this time.
Okay.
So I went to Colorado, and was I the biggest topic on Facebook for a little while amongst our friends. You know what I mean? I stole the kids. I did this. I kidnapped them. I was like, okay, if I did all that shit, okay, why am I still, why is there no knock on the door? You want to know why? Because I had all the text messages between you and my friends where you're saying you can't take care of them. You can't do this. You can't, somebody needs to come get these all that. I had all that.
Okay.
So it was like, you really have no room to stand. You can talk all the shit you want.
Okay.
But anyways, so I moved to Colorado, and I'm doing great, dude. No failed UAs, nothing. Get probation. Dude, they actually tried to get me off probation early, all this kind of crazy shit, which did not happen. And that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I end up back in prison again.
Because of that, though.
Because of a bunch of stupid shit. And it literally, I went to court over it, and I beat the case, but because the cops looked bad, I still ended up in prison to do the remainder of my time. Yeah. It's, like I said, it's a whole story. I'm not going to get into it. But, I go back to prison, and during that time, I meet my current, wife, and we...
Hold on. Sorry, I might have misunderstood. You met your current wife while you were in prison?
Let me clarify. No. While I was fighting those other charges, I met my current wife.
Okay. That makes sense.
Sorry, I probably said that way too fast because I do that. But during fighting those charges, she was like, man, like they're really out to get you. I was like, I know, right? It's funny. Anyways.
But why would they be out to get you?
Because I beat them, dude.
I don't think it's because you beat them. I think it's because our system is corrupt
and
they want to put people in jail, especially fathers, so that way they can make more money off the fathers.
Well, there's that too. But anyways, so when I went back to prison, okay, they arrest me for some stupid bullshit. They said I think the final straw was I came into police contact because of the original charges that I beat them on. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, we're going to violate you for that, so you're going to go back to prison. I think that's the way it turned out to be. So during that time of fighting all these charges, I met my significant other.
So you're saying you were on probation, you were about to get off probation, but because you had contact with the police because they did, so we're trying to entrap you basically.
Yeah.
That's the
way it felt, okay?
They said, oh, well, you're not off probation, but because you had police contact, we're going to violate you on. Okay, that makes sense.
There's, like I said, there's some more stuff in there, but I'm trying not to get into that part of the story.
Sorry.
You're fine. Anyways, during fighting those new charges, I meet my current wife, and she sees like everything, dude. She sees I'm not lying, like I have evidence proving my innocence and all this crazy shit. So anyways, like I said, I end up back in prison, but before I'm still in county or whatever, she takes a pregnancy test, and she's like, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh shit.
Your new one.
My new one, yeah. And I was like, all right, cool, I can run it. Like I like this one. And so so she did, man. She stuck with me. I was only supposed to do X amount of time, and they let me top out on the remainder and this and that. And I get out of prison, move to Colorado. She moves with me, and then I filed for divorce like a year after that. And that was a freaking lengthy process. Let me tell you, if you go, this is a bit of advice for somebody. If you're going to file for divorce, do it yourself. You don't need an attorney to do it, especially if there's a parent absent in the whole situation. They make it look very intimidating, but it's not. I did it myself. Mm-hmm. It cost me $300 instead of $3,000. Yep. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's more than $3,000.
Well, whatever it is now. But I know that you can do it yourself. I did all the paperwork myself, filled it out. Now, mind you, I did pay for, what do you call it? What do they call it when you talk to an attorney? Consultation.
Yeah, consultation.
I did pay for that, and they drafted up all the paperwork for me and said, all right, just fill these out and file them and this and that. And I did everything myself.
Yep.
And I won full custody of my two children from the one relationship.
So I am going to put a caveat in your statement of you don't need to hire a lawyer. There are certain situations where you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Especially in the case of an absent parent. That situation is a lot easier. But if you're having a contested divorce,
yeah.
do not take that advice.
Well, that's why I said if
yeah.
their parents absent.
Yeah.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, if you're in contested, if your ex is trying to contest things, get a lawyer, because if not, the courts will screw you.
Oh yeah.
If you have a dingleberry, or not a
Wipe that
dingleberry,
bitch out.
if you have the cojones,
The booze.
you need to make sure, because courts do not favor men. They will ream you. Very few judges.
But you know what's nice to know about that is that a lot of states are starting to lean more towards father parental rights.
I mean, there's too much evidence now showing
Yeah.
that I mean, we how many times have we talked about this, that fatherless or fathers in the home, or a single father, is almost the exact same
you know
as
what's
having
funny,
dual
dude?
parents.
When you told me that, dude, I did not believe you for the life of me, because my mom raised me for the most part. I mean, I knew my dad and I would see him every now and then when I wanted to, when I was comfortable with it. But I mean, for the most part, my mom raised me, and I always thought, I was like, dude, that can't be accurate. But then you started looking into it, and it's like, holy shit, dude, it's 100% true.
Yeah.
So just pointing that out.
Yeah, it's that's not trying to knock women.
No,
women are very important for children, but so are men. Why I say this is because we live in a society now that devalues the importance of the men in children's relationships.
And I can contest to that shit, man. But
yeah, I was going to wait and let you do your whole story, but I kept interrupting. So
you're fine, man.
So I apologize about that. But it kind of there are certain things that really
stuck out to you.
Well, the story is very powerful. Like when I listened to it when you did it that week that I was sick, I listened to it and I thought, damn, that's a powerful story.
And like I said, there's a lot more shit in there. Some things don't need to be known. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell you every little detail of what she did to me or what I did to her. I'm not going to say that. But we were both guilty, like you said. Like, you know, she did her shit, I did my shit. And it just, but at that point, it wasn't going to work anymore. Even though I wanted it to, you know what I mean? I was adult enough to be like, sorry, I can't.
But that also kind of highlights the other aspect of male nature, which is most men, like 95 to 99% of men, will stay in a sexless marriage and usually stay in abusive marriages, mainly because it is easier for men to stay in those relationships than to basically have to restart their life.
Yeah.
Because usually when those divorce happens, you are losing rights to your children. You are losing at least half of your stuff. You're basically starting over from scratch, and it usually just messes with the man's psyche so much that they don't even want to do it. They would rather stay
on purpose, man.
They would rather stay in abusive, sexless marriage where they are treated like a pile of garbage.
Yeah.
Than leave and never see their children again.
Well,
it's sad.
It is sad, but it can be. I don't want to say beaten, but it can be overcome.
It can be.
You know, and like I said, I went through a bunch of shit, but I was successful. Yeah, and I guess that's the main point of trying to tell the story is like, don't give up, man. You know, you can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's just what I wanted to convey, more or less.
Well, I think that's why your story is powerful. One is you showcase that as a man, you do not give up. You fight for what's important.
Yeah.
And the second thing you showcased is that you can conquer that.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, kudos to you. Hats off for going through that and then coming out the other side. And I've known you for what?
10 years?
10 plus years now.
Yeah.
Crap. You know, since 2010, 2009, we've known each other. Yeah. So, I mean, you're in a pretty good position now.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad.
And it just goes to show that the grind, the amount of effort you put into things can pay off. Yeah. And it is very empowering for other men to realize that, hey, we go through a bunch of bullshit and it seems like our lives are over, but you can make something out of it.
You can, you know, and like, I know the system's set up for us to fail, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, and it takes, like I said, man, a lot of work and a lot of, what'd you say, cojones earlier? Yeah, it takes a lot of self-motivation because they don't make it easy. Don't get me wrong. I think the easiest part that I had to do in that entire time, the easiest part was just going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
That was but it was also a very hard time because I missed my kids, I missed my family, I wanted to be. So it was its own level of difficulty, but it wasn't.
Let that sink in. He just said the easiest thing during that time was going to prison. And prison is one of the hardest things you can do.
That was that. I guarantee you that you can ask anybody who's gone to prison and come out, and they're like, "Fuck this, dude!" Like prison was easier. It really is. They have so much shit set up out here for you to fail, and you have to jump through these loops and this hoop and that loop and this hoop and fuck, man, it makes you want to almost quit, but you can't.
No, anyways. I 100% get it, man. Again, thank you for sharing your story. I'm hoping that the audience pulls a lot of good, useful info out of there, and hopefully can relate in some way, shape, or form, and then hopefully find the courage to keep trudging on when shit seems bad.
If you guys have any questions, like you want me to go into more detail about shit, please feel free to leave a comment or something. I don't mind going into detail. It's just that we're kind of on a time crunch today, so that's my bad.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Appreciate it again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Till next time.
Peace.
Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Till then, peace. Watching. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Till then, peace.